Hi. I didn't want to interrupt anything because I wanted to get I told you I wanted to catch you coming in here so that I can ask a question of you and Steven. So
Yeah, you can
hi
ask me my black brother Steven anything. What's up?
you mean your black sister, right? Because
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
Destiny
a
is
good one,
black
man.
woman.
that's right. That's right. Go for
What
it.
do you think? What do you think men in the red pill community have this notion that women that are in OnlyFans or even that once they leave it, they're just gonna be lonely and childless and miserable from for the rest of their life? Where did that come from?
Do you want to go, Destiny?
If I had to guess, there's probably two things. One is there's at least one or two women that have talked about it, and then two, for a lot of the red pill stuff, they start and stop with the theory. So they'll create a theory to explain something, and then they'll explain it, and they don't actually look for it ever in real life, but they just keep repeating it enough until some people believe it's true. So some predictions they make are kind of accurate. Like maybe women might reach 35 and be miserable in their careers if they're lonely. Like that might be accurate to some extent. But then other predictions they'll make, like women enjoy juggling a high value man, that have no basis in reality and will never have basis in reality. So just for red pill people, it stops and starts with the theory. They don't ever look to the real world for things. But that would be my guess, is where that comes from, those two things.
Yeah, I think also they probably just internalize their own disgust at the situation, and they share in a community that also repeats that ad nauseum. And so they're convinced the world is like that because they're surrounded by other men who think that's like all men must think this way because all of us here are thinking this way. So there's probably a lot of like confirmation bias there.
I'm interviewing because I keep seeing this, and I know so many women that were in the porn industry and now in OnlyFans or just in the sex industry. We're talking about hardcore sex industry. We're not talking about softcore. That they get out and they live normal lives. Now, the only thing I don't know what they do is how do they like uh hide. I don't think you can never hide that if you was in that industry.
Depending on how big
But
you were, yeah.
they don't have any problems finding husbands, and they definitely don't have any problems starting a family and going on with their lives. And I'm gonna be, because I'm like, I know these women, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm like, if so one or two women say that they were in the industry or they were in the sex industry, let's just say sex industry, they were in the sex industry and they got out and now they're miserable. I, maybe this is anecdotal for me because of the women I have been around in the past and even know of today. Like, do they not? Never mind, because I'm about to say, do they not look at the statistics or even look at it?
No,
But
it's
there is
always
no
just, that's
statistics.
why they like hardcore hype on or harp on like celebrity examples and shit when they're talking about their stuff. Sometimes they'll cite data if it like
Yeah,
supports
but
the argument.
look at our star.
Yeah, but it doesn't
Jenna
matter.
Jameson, I think that's her name. 3 times she got her husband 3 times. Malif Makifa. Okay, Maya. I
Mia
can't.
Khalifa? I don't think
I,
that's her real name, but
there
yeah.
you go. Her. Yeah, her. So it's like a long list of women who were in that, and they got married.
Well, go debate him and bring him up.
I mean, I, I could just say I know that stuff's not true. I mean, at the end of the day, there's going to be guys who are never going to be open to it, and then there's going to be other men who are 100% open to it, and there's going to be people in the middle. And when you fall in love with somebody, you overlook a lot of things. And for a lot of people, that's definitely an opening. I know for me personally, like if someone told me, in the past they've done sex work, but they're done with that, if they've been done with it for a while, like, I don't think I would necessarily be opposed to it, to be honest with you. But I know other folks who'd 100% be against it, and those people are traditionally the folks who like live in the red pill spaces. And so, um, I know that stuff not to be true.
I
I
don't
don't
even
know.
think those guys can even get a woman. And I also think that it's a lie. When you sit up here and say you want to, they call them 304s, right? But
Yeah.
that's all you pursue. That's all you
Yeah, I was
simp
gonna
to.
say,
That's
I
all
don't
you
even believe
basically
that
do.
those red pill people wouldn't pursue those girls, because if you look at like who these red pill people are dating, more often than not, it is like a bunch of like Instagram girls, like OnlyFans girls. Like that's almost exclusively who they
Exactly.
seem to be around. Yeah.
Did
Because
you see that?
because
Did you see that clip, Destiny, from I think it's like the Sartain guy, where I think like He was talking about how he went on the Fresh and Fit podcast with this like girl, and she got lambasted by the crowd and everybody for like the whole show. And then he asked her
Oh
like,
yes, and then she made like 100,000. No, 12. She got 12,000, 1,200 subscribers the next day.
yeah. So all like they were just shitting on her in the chat the whole time. And then after her appearance, like she jumped up in OnlyFans subscriber like 1,200, which I think is like amounts to like approximately like 60 grand a month, which is crazy when you think about it.
And she said she'll do it again. And
she'll do it again. So it's just a funny thing where even in these communities where they try to pretend, I think that's just a self-defense mechanism to make themselves get better. But when no one's looking, like they're hardcore simping for these.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys noticed. Somebody pointed this out to me on Twitter the other day that like there's a lot of clips that go viral where like a guy is asking a girl like ridiculous questions and the girl's just giving the worst answers ever, and it's obviously like supposed to make you hate women. A lot of these skits and TikToks accounts are just ran by the women. Like all they're doing is they're just farming the outrage that like a lot of these guys have about them, and then it's like all their accounts. So it's just kind of funny to see.
Okay, so this is actually a deeper question. I have to imagine that kind of loathing has to lead. Okay, is this a stretch to say those kinds of environments gotta like potentially lead to physical abuse? Is that a weird thing to say? That there's also hatred mixed in with the fact that you're desperate. No, I'm just saying if you have that dynamic with ladies where you hate them but you also follow them the entire time, but you're constantly speaking negatively. I just gotta imagine like there's gotta be something in there very. Like,
yes. I believe that there is a certain type of mentality where you want to punish the woman for whatever reason, and it has to stem from your own view of your own mom. So, and your favorite person, Myron, this is what I always noted. When I listen to him talk about his mother, it's never in a good light. Same thing with Andrew Tate, saying he blames his mom for the fact that his ain't shit daddy was never there. So there's a lot of...
Damn, does Andrew Tate really say that?
Well, he never said he hates his mom. He says, I'll repeat it because I have the video. He said, I remember when dad was gone for months on end and he came in and my mom just started bickering with him. And he said, sorry, son, can't come here. Bitch won't shut. He actually said, he called his mom a bitch. Bitch won't shut up. See you. Let's try it next time. And he left. And he said that, my mom didn't see my dad. My dad haven't been home for several weeks or months. And only first thing she comes in and she starts bitching at him. And it's basically her fault that he had to leave because he didn't want to hear that noise. I was like, because your father ain't shit. What the f***? He's just going around disappear, not helping financially. It's the reason why you guys had to go to London, because he wasn't doing anything but living out of his car, going to chess games, and then using that prize to basically get to the next tournament. He wasn't even taking care of you guys financially, hence why she had to go on welfare for the whatever the kind of welfare you call it, government assistance, when she went over there. So it's like he blames his mom for his father not being in her life.
Damn.
Bree's been doing her research. She was looking at family relationships.
Well, yeah, because when I do a research on a lot of these men, because I find them potentially dangerous to women. And when I see other women, not men, when I see other women say, well, they're not so bad. I mean, I don't agree with everything, but he has a good message. And I'm like, what the good message he has? So it's like, if Jeffrey Dahmer starts saying Black Lives Matter, are you going to just just discredit the fact that he ate? Like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, it's amazing that people say, well, this very, very, very bad person said something based or something I agree with, but I'm just gonna cherry pick and just forget what type of character that person has.
Trey, I'm gonna ask you a different question. Okay, this is personal. Actually, I don't know. Sure. Have you ever been in a situation like that in your own relationships?
I never. I think I don't have. I'm not trying to sound spooky or anything. I don't have the aura or energy to attract a man that want to hit me. Oh, but I have been hit. Hold on. Excuse me. In Freaknik, that we don't have it anymore. There was a thing in Atlanta called Freaknik, and me and my girls was walking, and some guy slapped me on my ass, and I turned around and slapped him in the face, and I got in a fighting position. I was taught by my dad that if I hit a man, get ready to fight. But every time I hit a man, he either hit me first, not hit me like in the face, but slapped me on my butt. You know what I'm saying? And so that happened 3 times, and every 3 times I returned with either one punch in the face, and the other 2 guys I just slapped them really hard in their face, and I got ready to fight. It never did go there because they knew they were wrong, and then also other guys jumped in immediately because the slap was real hard, so everybody heard it, and so they thought it was definitely going to get a fight. So that's the only time I've been hit. But I don't attract men in relationships that will put their hands on me.
Okay, I think this is actually interesting. Destiny, you might know quite a bit about this. Is there literature on the fact that, like, there's just obviously, I imagine there has to be some people more susceptible to attracting partners, and if so, like, what kind of character traits do those people have?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, my guess would be that like prior trauma is probably going to be indicative of future trauma because your mental ability to set boundaries is already heavily compromised. So people that have had bad experiences, bad relationships in the past are more likely to tolerate future relationships. My guess is going to be that people that rate higher on like agreeableness and everything are probably going to be more prone to that. Like if somebody's willing to set a boundary, let's see, I'll make a strong statement here. If somebody's willing to set a boundary, then there's a lot less likely a chance of them being abused, I think, because abusers don't typically pick people like that. This is why, in my opinion, red pill people always advocate for being like passport bros and finding like younger women with quote unquote less trauma. It's because they're looking explicitly,
yes.
they're looking explicitly for women that they can pull stupid shit with.
Well, I mean, I think that was even one of the things that you guys discussed on the podcast with Fresh. I think you said something about like a man must always have the leverage or must always have the authority or more leverage over the other person. That's constant like talking point I've heard throughout like the red pill discourse I've seen people speak about.
Yeah.
Where it's like have more money, try to encourage her to stay at home while you take care of most of the bills. Make sure that you're always ready to leave. Never be the first one to say I love you. Never be the first one to really show emotions or be vulnerable. It's like everything is always about maintaining a position of like extreme power and against dominance.
And if I had like a friend that was a girl and she told me that like, oh yeah, like this is what this guy believes, and like I feel any good friend would be like, hey, listen, you need to run for the hills. This guy is like red flag after red flag after red flag.
Yeah, really.
Why the f would you put yourself in any like proximal situation with this guy? Like, get the f out. This guy sounds like a psychopath.
So when it comes to this is a different one, but from the man's side or the men who are susceptible to engage in this kind of behavior, what do you think they're looking for in women, or how are they sussing out the kind of women? Like, obviously they meet Tree, they might find her a bit combative, or she's able to assert boundaries. What are they looking for in, I guess, women's behavior to be able to suss out somebody that they can easily get at, if you have to guess? And Tree, you can share this too if you have input.
Yeah, I feel like the thing you're always looking for. Or go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No. Go ahead, Destiny.
I was gonna say people that don't have some needs met are always the easiest people to prey on. So if you've got somebody that doesn't have very many friends, somebody that hasn't been in a relationship, people that are longing for love or affection, like these types of people that desperately need something in their life, if they've got these like holes in their life that aren't filled, then those are the easiest people to take advantage of, because you can very easily fill just a little bit of those holes and then have a ton of leverage over them because they become obsessed with you and they need that type of thing from you.
Yeah, True. What about you?
Men always put out fillers. So you see where men say, yo, you can just talk shit against a woman. If this a woman is a 10, or just tell her she's a average at best. And I think they try that, and some women may go, oh, they may. And that works with some women, and some women like, f you. I'm like, I look good. Like, that's why you up in my face. But I think it's a numbers game. They will run that on some women, and they will find the women and go, for real? And they'll just, that woman will try to please them or try to get their favor and try to see that she's beautiful or that she's worthy of their attention, blah, blah, blah. I've seen it happen, actually.
This is why they always say, like, they don't want masculine women, right? I don't want a woman that's going to fight with me all the time, right?
Right. Yeah. and because they don't want a woman to basically have her boundaries and stick to it.
It's interesting because I know this stuff intellectually, but I think I'm just like looking back on my own personal life and my personal experience, and I'm realizing the women who I met, who I dated, who I felt like could have been very susceptible to that behavior, were all like very young. I don't know what it's about like the younger women, especially as an older person if you're dating them, but they just want to bend over backwards to please. I don't know what it is that they're fulfilling, or maybe there's like a prototype there where the reason why they go for older men is to fill in some kind of void. But I notice that especially with younger women, I feel like they're even more susceptible because their aim to please at their own expense seems even heightened.
Wouldn't that be a daddy issue thing though?
No, I think that's a woman issue. I think that in society in general, I think women are generally conditioned to just be a little bit more of like a pleaser kind of. And when you're young, it's really easy for other people to hijack that kind of social programming. So it probably will take a woman one or two shitty relationships to realize like, oh, hold on, people are going to misuse and abuse this kind of like temperament that I've been trained with if I'm not careful, I think.
I appreciate that, Destiny.
All right, bye. Remember to hit that like and subscribe, and don't forget the notification bell so that my videos show up right in your feed.